Welcome back to a brand new episode, and in this Armory 3D tutorial series I'm going to show you how to make a score system. Now, last video I didn't take into account the score system being an issue with the current system. As you can see, we are actually spawning the objects in, so we're creating the objects, and I didn't actually take that into account when I was making the video, so we're going to have to do a small adjustment. We're only swapping one node. It's this spawn object node. We're actually going to need to replace it by the spawn object by name node. Now let's just select this scene, and you can copy and paste the name of the object in question. Now I can just plug the transform into transform, the done into the done, and done. Delete that. And there we go, that's all you have to do. And now you can just do the same by copying and pasting it down and plugging that in. And this is actually going to allow us to increase the score every time we collide with a spawned object, because if not, it wouldn't actually register the score. It wouldn't actually add a value to the score, so it wouldn't work. Okay, we need to swap that around before we can start. Now that you're all up to date, you've all swapped that around, we need to create a actual canvas so we can display the high score, because if not, it's not very useful, is it? So we can create a new UI in the scene tab, create new UI, no point changing the name, and we can create a text, scale it up a bit, set the text to 123 for testing purposes. We'll set it to 0 after, name it score, set the color to be something like a reddy orange. I think it looks nice, and we can actually set a font to this, because Armory has fixed fonts, so now we can use fonts. Now I'm going to use this TTF font. I'm just going to drag it in here. If you go to the assets tab, you can see it's been imported, and we can select it under the assets section, and it automatically applies the font, which is great. And now we can save that. Make sure to set this back to 0, so we don't have a 1, 2, 3 randomly at the start of the game, because that would be a weird score to start with. Now we can save that, and we can exit out. Now let's select the car, and we're going to need to make a new script to this car. The script is going to be the actual score, how we're going to increase the score based on the collision with the gas cans. So we can call it, make sure you put a capital at the beginning, if not Armory's going to spit an error at you. And this score trait, we're going to make a on contact node. The contact on event, I'm afraid. On events node. There we go, and we'll name that one contact. No, I didn't mean to add that. Contact. And now we need to change the score. So we're gonna add a set variable node. Plug that into the on event. Now we need an integer. This is actually the score. This is what we can drive it. If you want the score to start with like 50, then you just add 50, and that's what the score is going to start with, just so you know. And we can plug that into the variable. We also need to display the score, so we need to set the canvas text to be the actual value of the score. So you can plug the integer into the text, because the integer is what the text is going to be. And the text in question is going to be the score element that we just made and added the font to. Now we can actually add a math, so we can add a score, because if not, it's just going to be displaying the score. Now we can plug that into the value 1, and the value 0 is going to be 1. That means that every time this on event node is triggered, the variable is going to be set to +1. Make sure you plug the result into the variable, and it will be displayed as +1 for the integer, for the score. Okay, now that I've explained that, we can actually make this on event, because we've called it, but we haven't actually made it yet. So we need to go back to the gas, which is the trait that we made in the previous video about spawning the objects. So if you haven't seen that, make sure you go watch it, because this is a tutorial series and you have to watch every episode. So before I lose my voice and fall into a deep coma, let's do the last node, which is on event to object. The object in question is going to be the car, because that's the node, the score node that we applied to it. And the event is going to be the contact node, which means that every time the car comes in contact with the gas cans, it's going to apply, it's going to trigger this on contact event, which is going to apply the score with a +1 value. So if it's 0, then it'll be added to 1, 2, etc. And it's going to display that value via the text object named score that we just created in the canvas. If you're following, that's great. It's not too complicated, I guess. So yeah, this is what it gives, and as you can see on the top left hand side corner, we have our score which is being displayed, and every time we select one of these spawned objects, the spawned gas, to refuel, it is adding up the score. Now next video we're going to do we're going to be saving the high score, and it's going to be basically a try to survive game, because we're going to also spawn an enemy which is going to decrease our health, so we need to make sure we gain more health than we decrease. Okay, and if we get to 0 at the end, because over time the health is going to go down, the score is going to go down, and if we get to 0, the game ends. So that is going to be the game. So if you're interested to continue, make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and also comment down below on this video right here. Tell me what you thought about it, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.